Yes guys, just here, back with another video. You read the title. This is a massive trap. You have 24 hours to watch this video. You can see that we have a massive pullback from the Nasdaq. We had a massive pullback from the S&P, retesting this downward slope and support line exactly and actually bouncing. You can see on the left hand side over there on the top, we had Bitcoin actually pulling back from resistance, and you can see Ethereum actually tested support from this falling wedge. So as you can see by the thumbnail, this is what I'm expecting in the market. This is my bias. So let's have a look at all the different data points, all the different metrics to determining which is likely to happen, what is actually happening in the market, why it's happening in the market. You can see right here that we had a massive prediction over there that's playing out exactly. So we need to be looking at that scenario because that is massive. So yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight away in towards the content. Let's smash up the like button. Let's try to get above 35 likes. That'd be absolutely insane. And with that being said, let's get straight away in towards this banger. Bow. So yes guys, you can see that we're bouncing off of support after a massive crash, and you may ask, why did we crash? And you can see over here that the first three reasons were we had fears of the DeepSeek news, which was just a Chinese company that was better than OpenAI, which caused scares in the market due to the US potentially losing market share when it comes to the AI space. So yes guys, if that was bad for the US, then that means that the Nasdaq was going to take a plummet. We know Nvidia was very heavily weighted within the Nasdaq, as accounts for about 26% of the actual Nasdaq move all the way to the upside. You can see over here that led to a massive crash in the Nasdaq, because if Nvidia was a threat of competition due to the GPUs, then of course this will be very bearish for the Nasdaq over there and bullish for the Chinese, as the Chinese companies were the competitors. You can also see as well that we have FOMC. There was a lot of de-risking as well, and we have FOMC actually coming in tomorrow. So speaking about FOMC, we have a 99.5% probability of a rate pause, which I'll touch on in a minute. But you can see that FOMC is actually in 1 day and 3 hours from the time of this recording. So we'll be talking about that in a bit more detail. And you can see the third reason was there's no short-term North Star following the Trump's inauguration. So again, in my opinion, the bigger picture hasn't changed. I think that this is some short-term jitters in the market before we have FOMC. So this is nothing to be worrying about. And you can see here more on the DeepSeek news over there. I posted about it on Twitter, so make sure to be checking this out and be dropping a comment on what you think about this news. Now you can see that I posted on the 20th of January, Bitcoin was on massive support, and I said it is likely we're going to have a very volatile day. Proceed with caution. This was the inauguration, and you can see if we go on towards the chart right there, we had a lot of volatility. We actually went up. We had a lot of, consolidation, just banging into resistance and back into support before we actually broke down just recently on that DeepSeek news. But again, if you were following me on Twitter with post notifications on, you would have got that alert over there indicating a nice potential long position there and actually taking profit at range highs, and you would have known to just be cautious due to the volatility. So just to recap what I've been talking about for the past few videos, you can see that we had a massive crash in towards the inauguration window where we actually swept all the downside liquidity, which I was exactly pointing out to you guys. And then I had this drawing on my channel, and you can see over here I was exactly talking about this sell the news event happening way before we even pumped. And if we go in towards the chart right now, you can see that's exactly what we got. You can see that's exactly what we got, guys. We actually had a run up in towards the inauguration, a pullback, which was a sell the news event, and now we're looking like we can get some sort of continuation here. So yes guys, and a longer term I was talking about this as well, which was the buy the rumor, buy the news. And I'm seeing this play out still. I'm seeing us to actually have a parabolic run as soon as we break our all-time highs. So again, it's just a waiting game now. We're chopping around, we're reconsolidating and shaking out the weak hands, just like before where we had the buy the news phase, where we had the Bitcoin ETF actually being approved and the news actually surfaced the market. We had a short-term dip before a massive parabolic rally. This is exactly the same thing in my opinion. So this is something that I am actually looking at. So on Twitter again, I was talking about us being capped within December's range. So there's no need to actually overcomplicate anything, because once we reclaim support, there's an easy trade over there. Your bias is very clear. You know what's happening. And if you lose support over there, of course, we can be looking at lower levels. So just touching on FOMC a bit more, you can see on Twitter, I posted over here that stocks are in panic mode and Powell is not likely to actually stay very hawkish. I think that with Trump back in office, Powell's tone will be more dovish than hawkish, which just means bullish. So again, this sell-off that we did have is most likely a local bottom, and it's likely we can get a reversal from this point. Now you can see not too long ago, I just posted on Twitter, you can see all the way at the 14th of October, I was looking at this cup and handle where we had gold actually giving us the blueprint, and Bitcoin way before we broken out. I exactly posted this on Twitter. I was telling you guys that we were moments away from a massive cup and handle. I saw nobody actually talking about 120k target for Bitcoin. Everyone was looking at 95k, 80k, even some people saying we'll top out at 75k. But I was really bullish. I was saying that we are most likely going to have a massive parabolic rally. And you can see, if we actually go back to what the chart is looking at right now, you can see that right now we're having that massive parabolic rally play out exactly. And we had that dip that I was talking about where it was a macro high low, in my opinion, taken from the 2020 fractal over there. So if we go into the chart, you can see we had the 2020 fractal, and this was the macro high low scenario I was looking at. And right now we had the exact same thing playing out. So in my opinion, any dips in towards the mid range here is most likely bullish. You're most likely looking for price action to the range highs. This is something that I'm definitely monitoring. Of course, we can come in towards the 91k level again and test out support before actually rocketing up. So again, this is a probability that I am highlighting. So take it with a pinch of salt. My bias is bullish, but again, if we do come down, I think dips are for buying. Now you can see my 120k target is from this cup and handle pattern over here, taking it from the base of the cup in towards the neckline over there. And then if you take it to the breakout, you can see it lines up perfectly with 120k. And I've used that 120k target to mark out this range. And you can see that this was my range highs, 120k, and I've taken a bear market lows, which coincided with the 2017 high perfectly over there. And then the 50% level was actually our previous all-time high and our resistance point in that range that we did have for 8 months last year. And that's perfect because this shows the consistency of this projected range. And this has been very good this cycle, as the range quarters, which is your 25 level between the 50% level, or your 75-25, has provided a lot of support for this recent price action over here. So initially I thought that we were going to come up in towards this range quarter, find resistance before actually cracking above it and maybe turning it into support. But actually this time we've shot straight through it and actually confirmed it as support over here. And you can see that we never even had a closing candle below that 90k level. So that's looking really good. And we had a liquidity grab, which I was perfectly actually highlighting on my channel. And I was just saying we are really bullish if we can actually flip that candle, which was looking very ugly at the time, in towards at least a hammer candle or even a bullish candle. And you can see we fully engulfed our previous candle, which was insane. So just zooming into the price action for this week over here, if I go into the daily time frame, it'll be a bit more clear. You can see I have my previous week's range over here, and we actually swept the lows. So it's looking likely that we can go in towards our previous week's high, which is near our all-time high area. So that's looking really good. And if we look at the next range that we can be paying attention to, I've drawn out a potential range that I've projected using the 1618, 2618, and 3618, which tops out all the way at 158k. Of course, this is something to be monitoring, and I'm going to be taking it with a pinch of salt. I need to be looking at the on-chain metrics to be seeing if we may be going to be topping out in and around this level. But this is something I'm looking at. And if you look at the 50% level from the 1618 to the 3618, it actually lines up perfectly with the 2618. So that's looking really good. This is something I'm definitely watching because of how nicely the levels actually match up. And you know that when coins go into price discovery, you can test it with your altcoins. They tend to react nicely off of your 2618 and your 3618 Fibonacci. So for that longer term, you can see over here that we're in the year where we're going to have a massive alt season. So in my opinion, things have not changed. This is looking really bullish. We're still actually going to be going very parabolic for the Bitcoin price, and your altcoins tend to actually be going way more parabolic in year 3, as you can see by this fractal. And speaking about altcoins, we've got to speak about Ethereum. You can see our levels over here. We actually perfectly filled the wick 50%, which is a strategy I do talk about on the channel. And you can see that we've actually bounced and reclaimed our previous week's low. So Ethereum's looking really good. We had our falling wedge, as you can see by the bottom of the screen over here on the left hand side. That's looking really good. So if we can break above this previous level of resistance, turn it towards support, we have an easy long at $4,000 for Ethereum. Now if Ethereum starts going parabolic, you can bet that the Bitcoin dominance is actually going to have a massive crash towards the downside. And you can see by this level of resistance over here, it's likely that we've actually topped out on the Bitcoin dominance. We've had a lot of resistance at this level and support, so it's a very key level for me, as this yellow circles highlights. And you can see that we touched that level we touched that level and actually had a massive rejection, and we're potentially forming at lower highs. So I'm actually looking at a nice all season over here. And if the Bitcoin dominance actually drops, then ETH BTC is likely to reverse. You can see we have a massive trend line over here, which is multiple years, around an 8-year trend line over here, which is very significant. We're at a very big level of demand over here, where this green zone over here that you can see. And if we actually reclaim this level and start showing signs of strength and actually break above this level of resistance, I do think that the Ethereum against Bitcoin chart is going to fully reverse, which is going to provide a lot of strength for your altcoins. So for your range levels, you can see over here that looking at what's happened, we had a nice hammer candle here in towards our mid range. So again, if we can actually come in towards the 50% level, that is something to be monitoring, because that can elicit a retest again. So when you have a long wick, typically you retest 50% before actually reversing opposite direction. So if we actually have a pullback in towards FOMC, I do think that this level is where a lot of algorithms, a lot of traders, a lot of liquidity is looking to actually bounce price higher. And then if we can get a scenario like this where we confirm closing candles above our range highs and we actually see signs of strength on the lower time frames, as you can see by this drawing, then I do think that all-time highs at 120k mark at the very least is imminent. Furthermore, if we actually looking towards the price action a bit more, you can see that this is your premium zone, this is your discount zone. So again, above the 50% level is a premium, below the 50% level is a discount. So think about this logically. If this was fair value over here at the mid-range, if it was above the 50% mark, it's going to be a bit more expensive if it was something you're paying for. And if it was lower than 50% level, of course, it's going to be on discount. So if we come in towards this level over here, I do think that demand will be met. I do think that we can see a bounce. But again, if we actually lose this level, which is your 90k 500 level, and you see signs of weakness, then I do think that the melt is definitely on the table. So that's something to be watching. But again, my bias is actually we go higher. I do think that we will actually go parabolic. So the scenario that we do come down is a lower probability for me. But again, I will be prepared for it because anything's possible. So definitely have this level marked out on your charts. And if you want to be saving it, make sure to be liking all my Twitter posts. And you can find it over here on Twitter, where I do have this levels all marked out, so you can actually have that saved. So just the last thing for Bitcoin dominance in the short term, we can actually observe that we have an Adam and Eve pattern. So potentially, if Bitcoin actually comes down and the dominance starts bouncing, we can see a dead cat bounce where we get a last little flush in towards that key level I was talking about, where this Adam and Eve pattern will actually play out, which is a double bottom formation variant. And then that's when we can see the alt season. So definitely be cautious this month in towards monthly close, as that's very important to be noting.
So if you're enjoying the video and you want to be trading yourself, make sure to be checking that first link down below. If you check that first link down below, this will take you to this page over here, which is the sign up page for Blofin. Blofin are one of the best exchanges out there, guys. They are one of the lowest fees. They have fire blocks, which just means that they have a third-party custodian so that your funds are more secure. So definitely be checking if this is available in your country, as I definitely recommend Blofin. These guys are really good guys, and if you agree with their analysis and you agree with my opinion, then definitely looking towards signing up with Blofin so that you can take advantage of this opportunity.
So that'll be it from me, guys. Make sure to be following me on Twitter to stay up to date with consistent updates over here. You can see that I've taken a little break from YouTube. I was very busy with other things, but again, I was consistently posting on Twitter, so this is one way to actually be getting information if I'm not posting on YouTube. But I'm back with the daily videos for now, and yeah, I'll be seeing you guys in the next one tomorrow. Peace, guys. See ya. Bye bye.